Let's go down to Atlanta now, where, as Rash Madani said, he does sometimes answer to. Milton Stegall joins us from Georgia. How you doing, Milt?
I'm doing better than most, so I can't complain.
That's good. Okay, before I get serious, your hashtag paper plates, I was asking the guys in the bunker here where that started, if it was some sort of movement that you were on, and nobody knew. You tweet hashtag paper plates. Yeah, what's the story?
There's only two individuals walking this earth who knows what that means, and that's myself, of course, and my oldest son. So, my wife doesn't even know, so I can't let that information out because she would be disappointed if I let it out to my followers on social media, and she didn't know. So, like I said, only my son and myself, we're only two individuals who knows what paper plates mean.
How often do you get asked?
I get asked a lot, but it's less and less now because I don't even respond when they ask. And I basically respond to 99% of the questions that are asked me. But when they ask me that one, there's no response. So I think people are catching on to it.
Another. Are you surprised to know that Mike Kelly? Oh, he froze. Do we have Milt? He's good. Are you surprised to know that? Are you surprised to know that Mike Kelly went 10 minutes overtime in his segment?
I'm surprised it was only 10 minutes. I mean, you're talking about the professor, the man can talk. And I don't know if you know this, but Mike Kelly was my first offensive coordinator when I got to the CFL to Winnipeg in '95. So I remember first meetings, he was just talking and talking and talking. But he has so much football knowledge in his head, He could have went for another 10 hours if you would have given him the opportunity. So not surprised at all.
Milt, all smiles here and just jokes, of course, but I know it's been tough for you. Everybody's talking about what you've been talking about with the racial unrest in America and with your young family and so forth. What's it been like for you the last 10 days or lifetime?
Yeah, well, like you say, lifetime. And I guess these last 10 days, it's just been, amplified. It's like somebody just gave it some steroids. It's just growing and growing and growing. But, I'm optimistic. I want to talk about the future. I'm optimistic. I think this was the final drop in the bucket maybe, and maybe things are going to change. So I'm looking towards the future. I have a 16-year-old and a 15-year-old, almost 16-year-old, and almost a 12-year-old. So I want to be optimistic and say their future is going to be better than what we're dealing right now. So that's the philosophy I have on my mind. I'm trying to forget what happened in the past, not only yesterday, but for the first 50 years of my life. Because there were some, don't get me wrong, majority of it was good, but there were some trying times in there. And I just want to make sure, and hopefully everyone has the same feeling, that we make it better for the youth to come and for the years after that.
And that's for everybody. I mean, I don't know how deep people want us to go on this, but I just personally want to know what I can do, what Darren can do, what everybody can do to help in this cause. What I've realized is, because when I hear racial things said, I bite my lip, walk away, and I get mad. And what I've realized is I need to say something, tell them it's not right, cut them out of my life if that's what I have to do. That's what I think. That's what I've come up with. But what do you think?
You know what? That's important. That's important. And, the things you're doing right now, you have this platform and you allow individuals to come on your platform and talk about what's going on. That's doing its part. You talked about what you were saying right there. You have friends who may be making jokes or whatever it may be. You come up to them and you say what they need to say. And also the most important thing, just having empathy for when individuals tell you or show you what they're going through. A lot of times you have people, let's use, for example, someone may say Black Lives Matter. An individual may say, well, all lives matter. And what we're saying is we're not saying your life doesn't matter. We just need to tell you that we're going through some hard times and we just want you to have that empathy for us. So the fact, like I say, you have individuals coming on your platform talking about it. You're talking about that something needs to happen. You and your friends need to make changes. That's the most important thing right there. So I can truly say you're doing your part.
Thank you, Milt. I appreciate that for sure. Coach Kelly is watching. He says, I love you, Milt. Glad you paid attention.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you a story. I'd been in Winnipeg like 4 or 5 days before I was going to play in my first game, and I just remember he gave me this sheet, and he said, basically, you need to decide, figure out all these coverages right here. And I had no idea what I was looking at. Like, I see 12 men on the paper and everything. But Mike Kelly was a big reason why I was able to figure out the CFL. You know, I had him for like a year and a half, and it took me like a year and a half to figure things out. But he's a big reason why I was able to have all the success I had in the CFL.
I got so much to get to with you. Chris Cuthbert leaving TSN. Can you imagine a CFL without Chris Cuthbert? Because you're going to have to start it today.
Yeah, no. The best in the business. You know, I'm sure they threw a nice piece of change at him because he's just so valuable. What he can do. It was crazy because I would be in the CFL. We're watching the game. He's doing the game, and 2 days later, he's doing an NHL game. It's truly amazing what he's capable of doing. The mind he has, the way he carries himself, and most important, the person he is. That's the main reason he's going to be missed. Of course, yeah, he's great at what he does, but he's just an awesome person. And I think that's what everyone in the TSN family, the CFL, is going to miss about him the most. But we wish him the best. He's going to be great for Sportsnet, and he's going to be great for the NHL.
No doubt. So to some actual football, Milt. The Bombers were supposed to be at the Riders tonight. It would be the second preseason and final for both. Let's just pretend they're playing because we're going to do a computer simulation of it. The Riders lost in Calgary 27-23 last week in a computer simulation. Cody Fajardo was 4 of 10 with a pick in the first quarter. That's all he worked. What would you like to see Zach play tonight in the preseason finale for the Blue Bombers?
I don't want to see Zach play at all. I don't even want to see Zach practice. Just bring him out for the games. I mean, when he's on the field, he's awesome, but it's just too many times where he's been hurt. So unless he's playing with a bubble around him, he's not playing too much in the preseason. I say in the first preseason game, he takes a snap just to get under center. But besides that, he doesn't need to be out there playing. You know, it's enough when he's playing in the regular season because in his past, he's just been hurt so much. So we don't want to take any chances. Zach will not see the field. I'll put Wade Miller at quarterback in the preseason before I put Zach out there.
So basically, we're saying it's a throwaway game. It's a practice.
It's a throwaway game. It's practice. We're still just trying to evaluate some other players, but we know what we're going to do at quarterback, and Zach is going to be our guy.
You know, when you say you don't want to see him in practice, even I don't know if you're being facetious there, exaggerating or not. Like, have you been in a situation like Dunnigan had a lot of injury history too, right? Like, did you ever know a time where the number one guy didn't take all the reps in training camp? Or
no. I've never been in a situation like that. I'm sure it's happened before with other teams, but I've never been in a situation like that. And I was exaggerating, of course. I know Zach. He's their guy. He's going to take majority of the reps in practice, hopefully during the regular season. But if he doesn't have to be in there, don't put him in there. And the way his pass has been, I would want to see my second and third guy anyway, just in case Zach gets hurt. So during the preseason, those guys are going to play 99.9% of the time, just in case Zach does get hurt. Of course, you don't want him to get hurt because you know what he's capable of when he's on the field. But just based on his past, there's a chance he's going to get hurt. And you want to make sure your number 2 and 3 guy has had some playing time and they're ready to go.
Milt, you're in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame as a player. You could be going as a media member, too. And I got to ask you this. As a guy that just watched the CFL from the outside last year, I was disappointed it wasn't a bigger storyline that Zach comes back from after being left for dead and just he knocks off the Riders. He knocks off everybody in his hit list, including Hamilton in the Grey Cup. Why was that not a bigger story? Andrew Harris was a bigger story.
Right. Well, you know, Andrew Harris has some controversy behind him. So I think that's the biggest reason why he was a bigger story than Zach. But what Zach was able to do was truly amazing. I mean, he basically set out the entire year because he was injured. And then the Bombers picked him up and people were criticizing that, including myself, because I was like, well, hold on, you're getting damaged goods. But basically, we don't know what Kyle was thinking, but he got a great guy. And you see what he did once he got in there. They didn't miss a beat. I think he was there for a week, and him and Paul LaPolice was able to form a marriage that went on and won him a Grey Cup. So it was a great story, and I think we would have talked about it, and people would have talked about it more if we would have got this season going. It's unfortunate the Bombers didn't get to experience the ring ceremony, and Zach didn't get the flowers he deserved this year. But we'll just have to wait and see if and when this season starts, because I think the people involved, including myself, will give him a lot more love like he should have gotten last year.
Good, because he deserves it. And as you know, I should have teed you up on some of these questions. I was going to lob at you, but I know you can handle it. You're a smart guy. We had a poll. Who is the head coach with the most pressure on him in 2020? I said Craig Dickinson. The viewers said Ryan Dinwiddie. How would you answer that question?
Oh, no, not Ryan. I mean, he's just getting going. I agree with you. Oh, Dickie, he's a shark in a fish tank. There's a lot of expected of him this year. You got your quarterback. You got him signed to a long-term deal. You basically signed everyone back that you wanted. Your defense intact. You got a great, running game. Everything is set for you to be successful. So I think they gave him a little bit. It's make it to the Grey Cup or nothing. Now, I know it takes a little pressure off of him now with the Grey Cup. It's still a chance it could be in Regina, but maybe not being in Regina takes a little pressure off of him. But those fans and the province of Saskatchewan is expecting a lot out of him, and he needs to get it done.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. I saw the reason I came up with the question is Mike McCarthy's voted the NFL coach with the most pressure. Well, of course, it's the Dallas Cowboys. So it's
the
similar.
Dallas Cowboys, right?
Right, it's a similar thing with the Riders. 2 fan questions I'll ask you, Milt, and then I'll let you go. From Alan, our intern, the Asian sensation. He says, hey, Milt, who is your go-to golf partner if you faced off against Damon Allen? Damon's proposed a Canadian the match, like Phil and Tiger and Peyton and Tom. I don't even know if you're a golfer, Milt, but if you were, who would you want on your team?
Yeah, golf, and I don't like hobbies. I like sports. I know I'm going to get in trouble for that, but who would I want on my team? Because my golf game is so horrible, I would need Jesus to help me out. That's how much help I would need. Like I said, I'm not a golfer at all. I've golfed maybe 5 or 6 times in my life, and those were all for charity reasons in Winnipeg. So that golfing stuff is just, I'm not a patient person. I would rather go out and run on the track than actually golf. So I haven't slowed down yet, so I don't know how to answer. I'll take you, Rod. How's that sound?
Yeah, let's do it. Well, I don't think I'd be good because I'm with you. I'd rather not spend 4 hours being mad and paying to do it. John in Winnipeg says, and this is the last one, Milt, was there ever serious consideration of you joining another team in your CFL career? And he says to win a Grey Cup. I mean, you came close a couple times in Winnipeg, but did you ever consider other teams?
Well, another team considered me, and it was getting serious in 2005. We were horrible, and Saskatchewan was pretty decent. And Roy Shivers inquired about trading me over to the Rough Riders. Him and Brendan, they talked a little bit, and Roy actually reached out to me directly. I can say that now because we won't get in trouble. He reached out to me, and we had conversations about possibly getting traded over to the Rough Riders. So I never went in and asked, Lyle or Brendan for a trade, but that was one of the serious opportunities that I had to get traded. Of course, it didn't happen, but hey, you never know what could have happened.
Well, maybe it still could, because Clark's telling me in my ear, you're talking about a comeback. I was unaware of this. How did I miss this? What's the deal?
Yeah, I told my wife I was going to come out of retirement at age 50. I just need one play. I mean, I couldn't take a hit from a tick right now. So as far as getting hit, I can still run, but I couldn't take a hit from a tick. So just some opportunities for me to go out there and play and just catch some long balls. I can do that. I need to catch G-Roy. I think he's like 1,500 yards ahead of me, and I still want to get that record back. So if I can come back this season, I'm a free agent. I mean, the Bombers has first dibs, but I'm a free agent, so I'm going to the highest bidder. Well,
you would look good in green. And you are still, by the way, my daughter's favorite all-time player. So, hey, never say never. Never's a long time, as Gary Echeverry says. Milt,
there it is.
Thanks for the visit, man. Appreciate it. Great to see you again. I hope to see you soon, however it may be. But stay safe, and thanks for the time.
And thank you. And I know you were supposed to have me on longer, but I know Mike Kelly, he took everyone's time. So I'm going to get on Mike about that one. But thanks for having me on anyway.
You betcha. Thanks, Milt. Milt Stegall joining us from Hotlanta, as they say. I get it. Milt Stegall signs a one-day contract to retire as a rider.
Forget it. I'd sign Milt Stegall to play the season. And I'd say, literally, go and walk. Play the wide side. Just go for a walk until we're ready to throw it deep. He doesn't have to take any hits. He's never come. You're not making him come across the middle. That'd be cool.
He did wear a Rider jersey last year.
He'd sell tickets.
Coach Kelly writing in, come on, man. Coach, you're going to win the Rock Star of the Day. And I have a feeling he will wear the hat. Do you want to grab one of the hats when we come back out of the break?
Sure.
We'll ship it to him in Florida. We're going to need your address, Mike. It's a Football Friday on the Rod Pedersen Show, Facebook Live, Game Plus TV Network, and listen live at rodpedersen.com.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.